To be living elemental is to be living a more balanced life. I'm your host, Sara and the founder of Jade Scott Design. Through my interior design studio and Feng Shui practice, I awaken clients to the idea that their home is just as essential to their well-being as is to their mind and bodies. Essentially, nature's elements create balance and support, and through the lens of home, we can utilize their power when applied intentionally. Through this podcast, it is my intention to open you up to the idea that by living elemental through mind, body, and spirit will have a significant impact on your home and your life. Episode number 1. I have a podcast. Have you ever done something so random, like you didn't even think about it? You just knew it was a step you needed to take? That's what this podcast is for me, honestly. Launching a podcast was not a lifelong dream. This was not something that's been on my list of things to accomplish. Of course, I have a business, but it wasn't like I was in the mindset to utilize a podcast to market it or whatever. It was nowhere near that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand now that I have the podcast. I can certainly use it as a tool for that, but that was not the way this story started. It was only 3 months ago, back in October, that I was inspired by the idea, and it caught me really off guard. It seemed to literally come out of nowhere. But at the time, there was also this knowing that I needed to go all in. It caught my husband by surprise. He was like, wait, what? With all the other stuff you have going on, you're now starting a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. It's what I do. And so here we are. I do a lot of things at once. And for a long time, I didn't really like that about myself. I would start a lot of projects without following through. I would tell people about my ideas and speak about them with great enthusiasm and then never get things off the ground. However, it took a lot of years of self development work, spiritual exploration, my feng shui practice, questioning who I was and who I wanted to become, and asking myself, am I ready to step it up? And so I came to the realization that, like most human beings, I'm probably not going to change. I'm always going to be engaged in multiple things and coming with more and more ideas. But what I did need to be okay with was that some things just might not be pursuable and some things might not take off. And so I started to just embrace that concept and, more importantly, embrace myself and who I am and how I want to show up in the world. And so here it is. Here's the podcast. This one got off the ground, and I'm having so much fun with it. When I started sharing with other people what the podcast was going to be about and that I was calling it Living Elemental, I realized quickly that there was a lot of explaining that I needed to do because I guess the word elemental is a little foreign for people. And so, what a better way than to launch the first episode with some insight about what it means to be living elemental? I've mentioned that I'm a feng shui practitioner. I'm the founder of Jade Scott Design, a boutique interior design studio based in Pennsylvania. I've also founded Shop Elemental, which is an e-commerce site that sells spiritual tools to create more sacred space at home. And in the spring, we're going to be launching the Elemental Collection, which will consist of art and decorative accents as they relate to each of the elements found in Feng Shui. These elements, they originated from Taoism. And Taoism is a philosophy or a school of thought that originated in China, and it teaches that we should be living in balance with the universe. So I'm building this whole brand around this philosophy and the five elements. And so it only made sense, to me at least, to name the podcast the Living Elemental Podcast. So, to go into it a little deeper, in Feng Shui, the five elements and their cycles essentially work together to balance space. Just like in acupuncture, where your practitioner will balance your body's energy map based on any elemental imbalance. So, to be living elemental simply means to be striving for more balance. What I'm hoping to do is start to convey this concept of home being just as essential to our well being as is the mind and body. We have control over our mind, body, and homes, and even a sense of responsibility as humans to tend to what we can control so that we can better contribute to our world through our homes, our relationships, and furthermore, this planet that we all call home. And so, looking more through the lens of balance, what else can we be balancing better? I mean, you hear it all the time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm drained. I'm doing too much. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough fill in the blank, right? We as humans need more balance in our lives, period. So it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We could be talking about parenting and balancing screen time with our kids. We could be female business owners trying to balance our careers and families. We could be striving for more financial stability or relationship stability or balancing our time and how we spend it. These are conversations I want to have within this podcasting container. So we can create more balance in our homes through feng shui. We can go get acupuncture or any other physical modality to tend to our bodies. But what are we doing for our minds? What are we feeding them? What are our beliefs that are keeping us from feeling balance? That's what I hope to provide through this podcast. Through interviews, I want you to feel inspired. Through my solo mini episodes, I want you to gain some education. I want to just crack open a little space that could possibly encourage you to take any action towards bettering yourself. And so I want to end today's episode with reading just a short paragraph from the book Mind, Body, Home. This book was written by Tisha Morris, who was also my feng shui instructor, and her work as a writer and practitioner has been so influential in my own work as a designer and practitioner, as well as in my business branding as a whole, because we both truly share a love of working with the five elements. So in her book, it starts with Mahatma Gandhi said, quote, "Our contribution to the progress of the world must consist in setting our own house in order." End quote. Regardless of whether he was referring to our house literally or figuratively, the message is that we each have personal responsibility for taking care of our individual lives represented through our living spaces. If we each put our own home in order, whether it's using feng shui principles to bring about peace and harmony, or decorating our home to where we love coming home to it, we are bettering our lives and the planet. If we each take care of the plot of space we take up on the earth, it will be an even more beautiful world in which to live. This, of course, carries over to businesses and municipality spaces as well. But the change has to start in our personal spaces and how we treat and love ourselves. This is consistent with Gandhi's more famous quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Our spaces are so important to our overall health and well-being and have been vastly overlooked in their importance. So I'm going to end today's episode with that. This podcast is quickly becoming a really fun outlet for me, and I look forward to sharing more episodes with all of you. But if you have any suggestions or comments, or you want to be a guest on the show, or you just have a guest recommendation, please feel free to reach out to me personally at jsd@jadescottdesign.com. A lot of this information can also be found on our website at jadescottdesign.com, but I'll put all of that in the show notes for easy access. And just a reminder that new episodes are released on Mondays. Next week is bonus week. I'm going to be dropping 6 episodes, Monday through Saturday, to talk a little bit about each element. I thought that would be a great way to open up the conversation about them so you can start gaining some understanding of how they work on their own and also together in a way that supports you. So be sure you are following us on your favorite streaming platform. That way you know when those episodes are released. With that, I look forward to seeing you all next week. Your support of the Living Elemental podcast means so much to me. Thank you all for listening and following along. This outlet is becoming one of the best things I've ever done, and I want to continue to support you at home. So, in celebration of our launch, I am doing a giveaway for 3 lucky winners who will each receive a home energy kit. Inside these kits will be a few tools you can use to uplift the energy of your home or office, really anywhere you need some increased positive chi or energy. In order to be entered into the drawing, you just need to rate and review this podcast, take a screenshot and email it to our team at jsd@jadescottdesign.com, or you can just DM your screenshot at jadescottdesign on social. I will put all of those links in the show notes for you as well. We'll run this giveaway through the next few weeks, ending after the release of our bonus episodes, where we talk about each element and their attributes and how they all support one another. I thought doing these episodes would be a great reference for you as we expand into the elements going further. So please remember to rate and review. We will announce 3 winners the week of February 6th and hopefully get those to you right before Valentine's Day. So just a small token from us for sharing the love. All of this and more can be found on our website at jadescottdesign.com. Until next time, stay well.